My fellow citizens, let no one doubt that this is a difficult and dangerous effort on which we have...
The Caribbean has always been considered the US backyard. Some of the Cold War's frostiest moments came in battles over the archipelago's islands, particularly the Cuban Missile Crisis. Aside from the notable exception of Cuba, the countries of the Caribbean have historically looked northwards for protection and patronage. Today, in the English-speaking Caribbean, however, China, the US's biggest geopolitical rival, is emerging as a new rival. Xi Jinping, China's powerful president, visited the Caribbean and Mexico this summer and promised the region abundant loans, grants and investments. For many other Caribbean countries that find themselves in dire economic and financial shape, this was a godsend.
I certainly did not frown when the new Chinese president told us in Port of Spain recently that that China was going to invest $3 billion US dollars in the Caribbean, 1.5 billion for infrastructural development and 1.5 billion for concessional lending. We welcome all the help we can get, and I think that China has realized, I mean, it's gone into Africa as well. I think China has realized that it has to reach out to the world. The world can only be a comfortable place for China if countries across the world are enjoying a certain level of development.
Still, China's burgeoning interest in the Caribbean has raised eyebrows. Unlike Africa or Latin America, the Caribbean has little natural resources to speak of, or big populations that can provide markets for Chinese goods, the two main things China looks for abroad. Nonetheless, China's interest is primarily economic, not political, says Peter Phillips, Jamaica's finance minister.
I suspect with the instability in the circumstance of the dollar, they'll be trying to invest more of this capital rather than holding it in US government securities, and that every area of the globe is going to be affected in that way. Relatively small scale interests, as far as China is concerned, can have huge impact for us here in the Caribbean. And I think each country is trying to take advantage of its own prospects and possibilities.
The numbers are still modest but rising rapidly. The Inter-American Dialogue, a think tank, estimates that China's stock of investment in the Caribbean climbed 500% between 2003 and 2011 to almost $500 million. Since then, several big projects have been started. But some local activists are concerned that the Caribbean, in its rush to embrace China and attract its money, will make too many compromises on areas such as labour law, human rights and the environment. Beijing insists that Chinese workers and Chinese materials should be used for any project it supports, which causes tension with local labour unions. Politicians, however, are adamant that they would stand up to China if necessary.
Our foreign policy was set in '66 at the point of independence. Mercifully, across political parties, it has remained the same. It has lasted because it reflects the ethos of who we are. Friends of all, satellites of none. One of the reasons why this economic period is so difficult for us as an opposition is that the other part of our national motto is pride in industry. Okay? We will do things not because we think that somebody else wants us to do it, but because we have a sense of who we are, we have a sense of where we want to go. We don't think we're all things to all people, we don't think we're infallible, but equally we feel strongly that if we have to say to China, ABC, then we can say so without becoming enemies.
However, both Trinidad and Tobago, which hosted Xi Jinping, and Barbados' military have links with China's People's Liberation Army. Although the military-to-military relationships are embryonic, it underscores how China's influence is rising in non-economic spheres. The US seems unconcerned about China's activities in the region. Vice President Joe Biden was recently dispatched to the Caribbean and South American countries, including Colombia, to reassure leaders that the US was still their most steadfast friend. But local politicians want to see more action than words. If the US does not act, Washington might even see itself supplanted by Beijing as the most influential power in the Caribbean. Robin Wigglesworth, Financial Times.